Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on Google Classrooms with Melinda Hope. If you have any questions, please be sure to post them into the chat pod. Also, if you have any technical assistance needs, please post those in the chat pod as well. This webinar will be recorded and it will be available on the AEBG website. When you enter the room, please make sure that you press the white or green sound icon up top if you are having sound issues. If you need to dial in for some reason, your computer or device isn't working, you can do so and still be able to attend the webinar. The telephone number is 855-369-0450 and the passcode is 63011611. As you are listening to Melinda or I speak and you are hearing an echo, it may be because you are signed in twice. So if there is a number 2 next to your name, which I am not seeing any at this time, so no one should be having this issue, but in case you do, you will want to exit out of Adobe Connect and then re-enter into the room, and this should take away the echoing in the background. If the audio is breaking up for you and you are on a Wi-Fi connection, you may want to do the same thing because it could be your connection that is messing you up at this time. And if you would like to increase this the size of your screen to full screen, you can do so by pressing the full screen icon up top. It is the outward facing arrows. But when you do this, you will not have access to the chat pod, so you won't be able to see it or contribute to the chat pod. If you would like to come back to a normal size screen, you would press the same 4 arrows. They will now be facing inward, and that will decrease your screen size down to the normal size. Attendance is taken during the webinar, so if you are in a room with multiple people at this time, please be sure to, in the chat pod, let us know that you're in a room with multiple people and also provide their names and agency. That way we can make sure that all attendees are accounted for in our attendance. If you are ever in need of any support requests, you can be sure to contact AEBG TAP. We could be found on the AEBG website. You can submit a support request from there by pressing the Request Support button on the AEBG homepage. You can send us an email. Our email address is tap@aebg.org, or you can give us a telephone call. Our telephone number is 888-TAP-AEBG, or that's 888-827-2324. At the end of this webinar, an evaluation will appear on your screen. Please be sure to fill out this evaluation. We are required to evaluate all technical assistance and professional development activities for AEBG TAP, and it's also a good way for us to give Melinda some feedback on what you thought about her webinar today. Please be on the lookout for upcoming webinars. There were 2 that just posted this afternoon. It's CASAS webinars. They'll do a 2-part series on all of the new AEBG outcome updates and issues related to TE. So please be sure to register for those webinars. We also have an upcoming webinar on community asset mapping with our partner AIR, and that will take place on Wednesday, February 21st. So please be sure to access the webinar, the registration link for our upcoming webinars. Now I will turn it over to Melinda, who will begin the Google Classrooms webinar. Melinda?
Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. As Veronica said, we are doing Google Classroom. If you're here for anything else, you can still stay, but we're not going to be doing anything else but Google Classroom. There is a handout. It's just a PDF of the slides that I'm going to be going through on the far left-hand corner on the bottom there. So if you click on that, you can download the file at any time during this webinar. I'll just keep it to this this layout so that that's there for you. Please, please, please answer questions as you have them. Don't wait. So if we're on a certain screen and you have a question about something, please ask. If I don't see it and I don't answer within a couple of seconds, Veronica will get back onto the microphone and she'll read the question to me. So no, I don't want to miss any questions. Okay, so with that, things are going to change just a little bit here. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to, oops, I wasn't on the right one. Here we go. We're going to present. Woohoo! Here we go. So Google Classroom for Adult Education. Again, my name is Melinda Holt. I'm a PS2 here at the Sacramento County Office of Education. I work for two departments, OTAN, Outreach and Technical Assistance Network, and AEBG TAP, the Technical Assistance Project arm of AEBG. So if anybody just recently went to the summit in, God, where were we at? Universal City. You might have seen me running around along with Marjorie. She's also in the room doing tech support. So if you have any questions about this webinar or any trainings that you would like to see at a consortium site or at a WIOA funded site, you can contact me directly, or you can contact TAP at aebg.org and submit the request. We can do all kinds of workshops for you, including this one as a face-to-face hands-on workshop. So here are my objectives. We're going to learn the basics from a teacher and student perspective. You're going to, hopefully by the end of this workshop, understand Classroom and the relationship it has to Drive. You're going to understand the layout. You're going to understand how to add, archive, and delete classes. You're also going to learn how to create and assign AQUAs, announcements, questions, and assignments, as well as enroll students, track and grade, and assignments individually or as a group. So you can assign assignments individually or as a group, which is kind of new to Google Classroom now. Now the little picture off to the right there, in 1 hour, and actually this is an hour and a half, that's very we're going to have a lot of information in a little bitty space, let's put it that way. There's a reason this is a 3-hour hands-on workshop. There's a lot to cover. So are we going to cover every aspect of Classroom? Heck no! But we will be able to get some basics down for you so that maybe you'd be able to go in and actually work with it, learn some new things. And if you have questions, again, ask TAP at aebg.org, or you can contact me directly. So what is Classroom? Google Classroom is a blended learning platform. It's for educational units that use G Suite's EDU or now public Google. The Classroom is not a learning management system. It's not Blackboard, it's not Moodle, and it probably never will be. And this came from a Google Tech that I was talking to a few months ago when I was at another conference. They have no intention of making this a learning management system. They're not in the business of making LMS. So they call it a blended learning platform. Well, what's it blended with? Google Drive. So it's a learning platform that uses Google Drive. And it puts everything in one little container for you, or one folder, if you will. Who can use Classroom? Teachers and students whose districts have G Suite's EDU, where the Classroom app has been enabled. Now, and a G Suite EDU. I always get this question, what is that? Well, you might be on a Google and not even realize it. If you have an at tamalpais.us or slusd.us, that's your domain, you're actually a Google EDU. Okay? There's another type of an account, and that's public, and that's where you have an at gmail.com. So you can use an EDU account, or you can use at gmail.com. And with adult education, you have kind of the capability to use either. The problem is that not all adult education programs are allowed to have G Suite's EDU accounts or Classroom accounts within their G Suites. Because their students can't use the EDU. So if you're in an adult education setting and you have teachers who have at scoe.net, which is an EDU, and you have your students using Google, but they're using at gmail.com, the two can't use the same Classroom. And I'm going to explain why here in just a sec. It's because of this. When you're in the pub, when you're public, you can do anything you want. You can go into the pub and you can associate with anybody you want, and it's just you're having a rousing good time. When you're in an EDU, you have to act quite proper, and you have to have the secret code to get into the room. You have to have a school district give you a password along with an account on their club. Okay, so we have a pub and we have a club. Then a public edu, a public edu is at gmail.com, whereas a club edu is .us, .edu, .net, .org. Classroom can share with the same domain. And I said that slow so that you would understand it. Classroom can only share with the same domain. So if you have an @gmail.com account as a teacher, you can share with an @gmail.com student. If you have an @scoe.net account as a teacher, you cannot share with an @gmail.com account. This is why, because most EDUs are self-contained little units, and adult education doesn't always have the same rights as the students at a high school, or their students at the adult education site don't have accounts. So here's some things to ponder. If you're a teacher that has an EDU, a club account, and you want to use Classroom with your students who have pub accounts, you should not create public classrooms if your students have an EDU. If they have a club account and you have a club account, you got no problems. Use that club account. That's good. If your students don't have a club account, and you try and create a pub account while you're at your school, you might be precluded from doing that. It might not work. You would be able to do it at home. You can do it at Starbucks. You could do it at a library. But you might not be able to do it at your site because the network is detecting that you're trying to create something that it has said, nope, you can't do that. Not here. So will you be able to access the classroom after you create it offsite? Chances are yes. Okay, they just don't let you create it within the site. Should you ever use a public account, an @gmail.com account with K-12 students under 18 years? No! Not without permission from the parents or the admin. So if you have a 17-year-old in an adult education class, do not use an @gmail.com account with that student. Make sure the students that you're using a classroom on the public side are able to sign a waiver, all right, that they're adults, that they're able to sign an acceptable use policy all on their own without. It's just the way Google works. And I'm not going to get into that because it would just take too long to explain everything. So here's a pop quiz. And I'm going to escape out of this so I can see some answers here. Which represents a domain? Which one of these? We've got A, B, C, and D. And I'm going to make this a little bigger. Nope, I went the wrong way. Here we go. So which one of these is a domain? Go ahead and type in the chat what you think one of these, or maybe two of these, are part of a domain. Anybody? Is somebody answering? We got 3 answers. Okay, we got A and C. We got a C @gmail.com, so that would be A. All right, A and C again. Okay, so those of you that answered A and C are correct. Those are domains. Google Classroom is not a domain. Google Drive is not a domain. Anything after an @ symbol is considered a domain. So good for you. And as we go to the next slide, which I'm going to have to do a little wonky here because I came out of presentation mode. Hang on just a sec. There we go. We're going to go down. Sorry about that. Boom. Here we go. Those are the answers. So A and C. Okay, so you got that right. Now, next pop quiz. Remember I said you have to share with the same domain. All right, so using this question, I'm going to try and get this out of the way. There we go. So can I share a classroom A, B, C, and D? And I'm going to make this a little bigger. Nope, I went the wrong way. Here we go. So using this question, remember I said you have to share with the same domain. All right, so using this question, you have to share with the same domain. All right, so can I share miho@gmail.com to scoietech@gmail.com. Can I do B, miho@scoietech.net to scoietech@gmail.com? Or C, miho@gmail.com to scoietech@yahoo.com? Or miho@scoinet to scoietech@scoinet. There we go. So what would the answer be there? So just to give you some clue, A would be pub to pub. B would be club to pub. And I see you typing. C would be pub to pub in a weird way. And D would be club to club. And I'm reading your answers. So we have someone saying A, C, and D. And we have someone saying A and C. And Shahea, you said N, D. All right, so let's find out what the right answer is, if I can find it. Da, 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 da. The correct answers are A and D. You cannot use C. That was kind of a trick question. The domain has to be the same. So even though both @gmail.com and @yahoo.com are public, you will not be able to share a classroom with @yahoo.com. If your student has an @yahoo.com account, they know how to create an email, right? And Yahoo is free, and so is Gmail. So if they have a Yahoo account, they should be able to create a Gmail account as well. So you will not be able to do C. You can only do A and D. Club to club, pub to pub. Okay? All right, I'm going to go back into present mode here so we can get out of that. So why should you use Classroom? What's the big deal? Well, Classroom allows teachers to create, assign, collect assignments paperlessly, and all through Google Drive, really. You can do almost anything that you can on an LMS. I know I said it wasn't an LMS, and it's not, but you can do a lot of things there. You can, you've got time-saving features that are in the Classroom. It's not in your calendar. It's a separate calendar that Classroom creates for you. You can copy assignments. You can assign everything student by student or a group of students. The Classroom will create folders for each assignment and for your students within the drive. So it creates everything for you. You don't have to organize anything. It does the organization for you. And here's some more reasons. Because it does all of this, and why it's doing that, I don't know. Whoop. There we go. So Classroom integrates G Suites for teachers and students. It contains communication tools. You can communicate with your students through Classroom. It has calendars within it. It can send reminders on when something is due. And it's an app, so you can also install it on a phone or a tablet. Their students will be able to use it on their tablet or their phone. They can do their assignments if they want to look at something that small on a phone, or they can use a laptop or a tablet or a computer. Same thing for teachers. And then there's more reasons I'm going to go through real quick because I want you to be able to see the Classroom itself. So Classroom allows students to track assignments and due dates, gives teachers student info, connects real-time data, and you get feedback. And everything's in real time because it's done on the cloud. It's done on the Google Cloud. So, info for first-time students and teachers. Here we go. When you go to Classroom, when you go to classroom.google.com, if you're on an EDU and you're signed into your account, you can go there and you're going to be given an option with a plus symbol to create your first class. Once you select that plus symbol to create a class as a teacher, you are forever a teacher. If your students are part of an EDU, if they're part of a club, if they're on the same domain that you have, like @scoe.net, then when they go to that plus sign and they select teacher, they're a teacher until your admin or your network coordinator changes their role to student. So you can still put them in your class. They can still enroll in your class as a teacher, but they will also be able to create classes. So that's something to keep in mind when you're on an EDU, when you're on public. You just want to make sure that you guide your students to join a class, not create a class as a teacher. So when students select student, that's their role. And then every time they sign in after that, they're going to be students. On the pub, it works a little different. You can be a student or a teacher. Okay, and it really doesn't make any difference as long as you don't tell your students that they could become a teacher. They don't have to be. They don't have to know. What you don't know won't hurt them, right? So teachers class. Here's where we're going to go to the home page here, and these slides are all part of the handout. So, and I'm going to go live here in just a minute. Because I do have Wi-Fi here, so I'm going to be able to show this to you live. But here's what a teacher's homepage looks like. Some of the things that you can do there. Again, this is part of the handout. This is how you create a class. It's really simple to do, very easy. This is what you see when you get to your homepage. Okay, and then the class for wait, students class page. Teachers can invite students, or they can give, I see something jumping. Hang on. Do I have a, sorry about that. My computer was giving me some weirdness. Okay, so teachers can give the class code, or they can join a class by selecting a link within email. So there's a few ways to do that. I will show that to you live. And here we go, join class with invitation. This is how students would join. Okay, and they can also join with class code. So I'm going to jump out of here because I want you to see this live. It works a little better. Before I do that though, I'd like to see if there are any questions so far. If I've covered anything that somebody's going, hey, what's going on? So I'm going to give a 5 count, and if I don't see anybody typing, I'm going to continue. So we're going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, oh, I see someone typing. Marjorie. Nope. Okay. All right. Onward. So, like I said, once you are signed into your account, all you have to do is go to the to your address bar, or the Omnibox as they call it on Google Chrome, and type classroom.google.com. Once you're signed into a public account or a club account, an EDU, you are signed in. So I can go right to my class. Boom. I've already created some classes. If I'd come here the first time, this plus sign here would be basically the only thing I would see. So I would click that and then create class as a teacher. If you have your students go directly to classroom.com once they're signed into their account, then they too would select the plus sign and then join a class. When they click join a class, they're going to be asked for the class code, and I'll show you that here in just a sec. So right here I have 3 classes, and this is your landing page. Okay, this is the home page for Classroom overall. You can have as many classes as you want. You would just go to the plus sign, you think, hey, I need another class. Okay, so you click the plus sign, you create a class, and it will automatically come up with this message. It's here to scare you. Okay, in all seriousness, it's here to scare you. You don't have to worry about it. If you're using Classroom with adults, even if you're using the pub or the club, it doesn't matter. If you're using it with adults, all you need to do is click this, yeah, whatever, and continue. Okay, but you are going to get that every time you try to create a class. So right now we're going to name our class, and we're going to name this what? We're going to name this online workshop, because everyone should know how to do an online workshop. There's a section that I could put here, so I could do beginning or level 2, whatever I want here, and then have a subject area as well. I'm not going to do all of this. All I want is the title of the classroom. I can always change this later. So I'm going to leave this the way it is and hit create. It's creating my class. It's basically creating a course shell. So it takes a little bit of time. If you're on a Wi-Fi, it'll take a little bit longer than if you're hardwired. And then it opens a class for you. So here's the name of my class right here. I don't really want to do anything here yet. It's created. That's great. I want to get back to my other classes. In order to do that, I'm going to go to my button over here. This is where I can get back to my main menu. Okay, so I'm going to click on the 3 lines over there, and I can see all of my classes. I could select any one of these at that time, or I can go back to my classes homepage. And there we go. Now I see all of my classes. I can move this around. I can put them in order any way I want. And that's how you create a class. Very simple. Once you create a class, you're going to want to add something to it beyond students. Okay, you're going to want to have some assignments. You're going to want some just to add things to it. And I need to minimize this so I can see what I'm doing here. Hang on just a sec. There we go. All right, so right here I've already added one assignment, and I have a student that's already completed something. Right here, this plus button down in the lower right hand corner, that's where you add the what I call aquas, your assignments, your questions, and your announcements. An announcement is something like class is not going to be in session tomorrow, or there will be a holiday on February the 4th. Okay. A question, it would be a poll. It's a good way to get class discussion started, or to get some collaboration going before a project maybe. Who's interested in doing something on geography? Who's interested in doing something on civilization? I'm just trying to think of some different topics. So you can ask questions within a class. The teacher controls what's called the stream. You control whether or not students can communicate with one another. So they could if you allowed it. If you just want them to post answers and not be able to communicate with one another, there's an off button on the stream. On the question stream, I should say. This page that we're looking at looks very similar to the student side. Students and teachers both see stream. This is where all the assignments are posted. This is where all of the questions are posted. It's just one big long list of things that the teacher adds to the class, or if the teacher allows the student to add to the class. All right, now I'm going to pop over to another browser because I wanted to sign in with a different account so that you could see what it looks like as a student. So I'm using Firefox for this one. Do you have to use Chrome to use Classroom? No! You can use any browser you want. I would recommend Chrome. The only reason I'm using Firefox right now is because I can't be signed into 2 accounts at the same time in Chrome and show you this. So I've used Firefox for the student and Chrome for the teacher. So the student view, when they sign into the classroom, here's the stream, and instead of seeing students, as we see right here on the teacher side, the students see classmates. So if they have any classmates, and this poor student only has themselves in this class, but if there were more classmates, they would see them listed here. They would also be able to, if the teacher allowed it, communicate with those students within classroom. The teacher can control that. So this student has looked at the first assignment and actually submitted it, and because the teacher has allowed it, they've also posted a question. What's the difference if we use Chrome or Firefox or whatever? Okay, so this student has posted this. Because they submitted an assignment, they see that they submitted it and it's done. Done does not mean graded. It just means that they've finished what the teacher asked them to do in their mind. Okay, they can always go back and open an assignment and redo it if the teacher allows. They can delete what they've uploaded if the teacher allows. It's up to you as the teacher how much control you give the students on what how they can submit their assignments. I'm going to minimize the student here so we can get back to the teacher. From this area here, you as the teacher, you're going to want to see who's in your class. Here are your students. Okay, this is the class code. This is what you can send to your students, or you can invite your students. Remember, you can communicate with students through Classroom, and actually you're communicating with students through Google, the Google set of tools. So what's the Google communication system? It's Gmail, right? Whether or not you're club or pub, it doesn't matter. It's going to be using that email system, that Gmail system. So we're going to click invite students here, and I'm going to invite I don't think I remember her. No. Hey Marjorie, send me your email address. There's a student here. Oh, thank you, Penny. I didn't know you were in here. 010 Teacher Penny. So I'm going to invite Teacher Penny, and Marjorie, if you type in your address real quick, and I tell you what, if anybody types in their Gmail address within the next 5-10 seconds, I will add it. But it has to be Gmail. Alright, and that means that I'm going to have to... where's the communication at? No, I don't see it. And the little pop-ups are adding really slow. So hang on a sec. I got to figure out how to pause and annotate so I can get you guys' email addresses. Options? Yeah, not letting me. Oh gosh. Gotta love it. Alright, so if you want to type it in again, I'm going to give you another 3 seconds. I'm sorry, they just popped up and popped down a little too fast for me to read it. So I've got Penny and I've got Diana. Marjorie, yours started with a B. That's all I got. Oh, here it is. Butter DVD. Here we go. And if anybody else wants to type their email address in real quick, I can't see the chat anymore. Parker and Veronica. Okay. Parker and Veronica at Gmail. Okay, so I've got 4 of you. So I've typed in all the email addresses. I'm going to, and you can type more, or you can select them all from maybe a spreadsheet and paste them in, which is really cool. And I'm going to hit invite. What's going to happen when I hit invite is they're going to get an email or a Gmail, and it'll say SCOE Tech, the name of the teacher, has invited you to a class. And they're going to see a little blue join button. They don't get the code. They won't see the code. What they will see is that email address. And then the join button or the email address. They'll see the email message, and then they'll have a join button. So that's one way to get students into your class. Another way, and you guys go ahead and check your Gmail, and if you want to, go ahead and accept or hit join. The other way that you can do this is to display the code. So you're in a classroom, you want everyone to see this. Now that's a little small. Well, they have this button right here, which looks actually similar to the Adobe Connect expand screen. So I'm going to hit that, and now I've got a really big code window that I can project to my class. We're in a lab, we're all together, we all have maybe a Chromebook cart or a laptop cart, and or even an iPad cart. They can all see this, and they can type in the code as they see it. It is case sensitive. I could also copy this code and send it to somebody. So lots of ways to invite a student, but they have to do the work. You can't just add them to your class. When you do this through a pub or even in a club, you're going to have them join your class. So I'm going to exit this view. As people accept or they will join your class, you will see them populate. So I know that we have Miho here, we have Marjorie O, we have Veronica Parker, and Teacher Penny. So we have 4 students in my class. Okay, Dee Batista has yet to accept the invitation, and I know that because she's still listed as invited, and that's okay. I can always email them again. So just by selecting, and if Marjorie had not accepted the invitation as well, I could select those 2 and then hit email again, and the same email is sent. So we can sort by last name, sort by first name. However, there's lots of not too many controls, but lots of things that you can do here. As students see comments again. See comments again? I'm not sure what that meant. Should I go back to, should I stop sharing? All right, something's wonky. My class discussion. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about right now, so I'll figure it out. Hang on just a sec. There's a method to my madness here. After I invite students to a classroom, then they can start doing what's already in the classroom. So if I go back to stream here, and we have, oh, okay, so we have, do you get an A now? No, you don't get an A. So from here, I can see who's done what. Okay, I can see the comments. As I post more, I will see more as the teacher. As the students do more, I will see more as well. I don't know if you just saw what I just did, but from the stream, I saw that I had 1 that had completed the first assignment, install Chrome. So I'm going to click that done, or I could click the not done. It doesn't really matter. But once I do that, what I'm getting into is called the student work. This is also where the grade book is, what I'm going to call the grade book. Because as students complete their assignments, they're separated into 2 sections. One's done and one's not done. Done does not mean graded. It just means that it was done. So from here, I can select this student and I can add a grade. Google just added the decimal grading system, so you could do 90.5 if you wanted to. This is worth 100 points. It has to be a number, so we've got 90 out of 100 there. Okay, I'm not really sure that student did exactly what I wanted them to, because the assignment that they turned in has the picture of a Google page, not the picture of a Chrome page. Well, how do I know that? Because it's in my drive. So right here is the folder for this assignment, and if I click it, it will open up in my drive. Okay, and here's what was submitted. And if I look at the information for it, here we go, preview. There's what was submitted. The instructions were to take a picture of Chrome once it was installed on their computer, on the student computer. Okay, now that may be beyond some of your students, but it was all I could think of this morning to make someone do. So if I go back, I want you to look at this path here. This is my account, scoeytech@gmail.com, so it's a public account. This is my drive. Classroom created a classrooms folder for me. It created the class folder for me, and it created the assignment folder for me. I didn't do any of this. I did not do any of this. Classroom did it all. So everything that I need is right here in my drive. And somewhere in here is going to be, what is it, classrooms? So you can see the drill down of it. Here's the classroom. So here are all of my classes that I have created. And you know, you were here when you saw me. You saw that I created the online workshop classroom, correct? There's nothing there for that work or for that classroom because I don't have any assignments in it yet. So it doesn't create anything for you beyond the classrooms folder. You can create as many classes as you want, but it won't do anything, and it won't create any more folders, I should say, until after you create an assignment or get a student in. There has to be some action done within that class. Not the classroom, but some action in the class. So that's why the online workshops folder isn't here yet. You should also see, and I'm going to zoom in on this, I hope. There we go. You see this folder has a little silhouette of someone. That means it's shared. As soon as you create a classroom, it is shared. It's only shared with the people that you have added to your class. You can add another teacher to your class, so you can be co-teachers. You can add a student to your class. So as soon as you share something with someone, you've got that folder that has a little silhouette on it. Same thing with the classroom. Okay, so I hope that kind of explains the pairing or how Drive is connected to your classroom. And we're back to this assignment. Oh, now we have two that are done. Okay, so let's see. We're going to go here, and we've got Miho did one, and Penny did one, no attachments. So, but she has done, but yeah, there's nothing there for me to see, so I'm going to go back here into the folder. I'm going to see, no, there's nothing there. So, sorry, Penny. What I can do from here is I can communicate with my student and say, I need a picture for this assignment, or I want you to rewrite this paragraph so I can grade it, or I'm going to give you 20 out of 100, and when you redo the assignment, then I will revisit your grade. So the teacher has a lot of options. Just because you're not set in stone. Okay, it's just like a real grade book. You're not set to, as soon as you hit 90 out of 100, that's what they're going to get. No, I can always change this grade, or I can give them another chance, or I can add to the assignment. Whatever the teacher wants to do, that's what's going to happen. What else can I show you here? So on Chrome, this is the assignment itself. Just the assignment. I went to instructions just to make sure that I gave the right instructions. If I find that I didn't, always look for the 3 dots whenever you're in a classroom, because that means more. Okay, I can delete this this assignment, which I don't want to do, or I can edit it. So if the instructions weren't exactly clear, all the students are doing different things, or they're doing it different ways, maybe my instructions weren't clear, I can always change it. Okay. Now let's go and add an assignment. I'm going to click the plus. I'm not going to click anything, actually. I'm going to hover over the plus symbol. I'm going to click on assignment. So I want you to see this. We're adding this to the Drive add-ons class and to all students. I'm going to put a title in here. Testing. And then I'm going to put in, I could put in some instructions, but I'm going to, let's see, testing your docs. There we go. Create a doc and submit it to, I'll just submit it. There we go. When you create an assignment, you're not required to put instructions. I mean, you don't have to do that. It helps the students, but you don't have to do that. You do not have to put a due date either. But if you do, then your students will get reminders that something is due. You do not have to put a time. The default is always the 11:59 p.m. of the date that you select. You can always change that. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. The topic here is, it's really important here. Remember, everything is in the stream. It's a very big, long list of all of the assignments, all of the questions, all of the announcements. It just goes on and on and on and on. So, if you create a topic, students will be able to find assignments by a topic, and it makes it a lot easier for them. So we're going to go ahead and create a topic called, and I'm going to have a lot of assignments that have to do with docs. So I'm creating a topic called docs. Now your assignments, they're going to be more maybe ESL related, or CTE related, or computer related if you're teaching computers within a CTE lab. So your topics can be anything you want. Don't get so specific though that it only relates to one assignment. Okay, the topic should be more broad, should encompass more assignments or questions or announcements. Okay, so I'm going to call this topic docs, and I am going to, at this point, what I could do is upload a document that I've created, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to click my Drive button, and I'm going to just select an agenda. Means absolutely nothing, but I need to show you something here. From here, here's the agenda. Students can view the file. Now remember, we're on Google Drive. We're connecting Classroom to Drive, right? So it has the same sharing capabilities, plus a little more. What you can do from here, not only can students view the file, but you can have them all edit the same file at the same time. If you do that, make absolutely sure you want to, because having students all edit the same file at the same time is like herding cats. So good luck with that, unless you assign them numbers. Like maybe for a slides presentation, you want them to all create a slide about themselves, let's say, or create a slide about a project that you're all working on. So you assign them all numbers. Okay, Penny, you're slide 1, Marjorie, you're slide 2, Diana, you're slide 3, and so on. So they each know their slide number. Then when they open up the slides presentation, they know their number, they go to their numbered slide, and that's all they work on. Okay, but again, that would be with edit rights, and all of them are on the same file. Or, here's the caveat right here, make a copy for each student. So what's happening with this is that a copy of whatever you decide, whatever you upload from your drive, is made for each student. They don't have access to your original. You're actually making a copy of it for them, and it's put in their drive in their classroom folder. From here I can assign it, or I can schedule it. I don't want them to get this until next week. So I'm going to hit schedule, and I'm going to hit Monday of next week. It'll be open at 8 a.m. and schedule. Boom. Now, why don't we see that? Why isn't it here? It's not in my stream because it's being held. Okay, it's being held for the students and also being held for the teacher. Can I still see it as the teacher? Sure. It actually is in this little box right here, saved post, because it is saved. It's not ready yet, it's saved. So when I click on it, here it is right here, testing my docs. And why would I want to do this? Because, oh no, I forgot to add some instructions. So I can click on it now, and I can add my instructions at this point, and then schedule it, or maybe make it a Tuesday instead of a Monday. Okay. Notice here are the topics. Now when you start using Classroom, if you start using Classroom, you're going to have a lot of posts in your stream. You're going to have assignments, you're going to have questions, you're going to have announcements. There's a lot of stuff to this. So when you click on a topic, that is all that's going to show up. So it helps you organize, or helps you find actually the things that you want to see a lot better. Not only on the teacher side, but I'm going to go back to the student side. I'm going to hit refresh because I actually added an assignment and did a bunch of stuff. And I see that one of my classmates has done some stuff. Okay. And I'm going to hit install. There we go. So if I had a bid long stream and I'm a student that waits until the last minute to do something, and I need to find that assignment that I haven't done yet and I just got a reminder for, I'm going to use this topic button instead of trying to find the assignment. Okay, I am going to come back into the room, I think. Huh. Yeah, it's not letting me. Wow. Da-da-da-da-da. Hang on just a sec, folks. There we go. I'm going to pause and annotate. There we go. That's a good one. I'm going to come back into the room real quick so I can see if I missed any questions. And if you have any questions right now, then we can I can answer them. So does anybody have any questions so far? Are we good? Diana, I do not see my invite. Ooh, that's actually a question. So if you don't see, if you invite a student as a teacher, you invite a student to a class and you send off an email and they come back and say, teacher, I don't see it. It's not there. Well, chances are you sent it to the wrong person, okay, or you typed in the wrong address. So, and remember, it has to be club to club or pub to pub. So if you're on a club, if you have something like at school.edu and you tried to share it with at gmail.com, that's not going to work. Okay, you can only invite learners with a Gmail account, not Hotmail, Yahoo, or Outlook. That is correct. Remember, Classroom is attached to Drive, so unless you have a Drive account, it's not going to work. So can you create a Gmail account using an Outlook, Yahoo, or Hotmail account? Sure, you can actually. If someone ever shares something with you and they shared it with your Outlook account, it'll have you sign in. And as soon as you do that, whether you know it or not, you've actually created an Outlook account using Gmail. Or I should say you've created a Google account using Outlook. So yes, you can. Do you want to? No, because it will be confusing. It will be very confusing to people, not only to the students, but to you as well. Because when you tell everybody, okay, everyone, open up your Gmail and go to blah, 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 you know, your students will follow your directions. They'll go to Gmail and they'll type in at gmail.com and it won't work. And then they'll wonder why. And you'll wonder why. And 9 times out of 10, it'll take hours and hours and lots of head banging before you, oh, it's the Yahoo. So okay, go to at gmail.com, go to gmail.com, but then sign in with your Yahoo account. So it's just really confusing, and I highly recommend that you do not do it. I usually tell people that it won't work just so they won't do it. So essentially I lie, but it saves them a lot of grief in the long run. So does anybody else have any questions? No? Okay. I'm going to go back to the presentation real quick. Let's see, where's my resume? There's my resume. And we're going to go here because I've actually shown you quite a lot, but I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. All right, we're going to go back to present. We're going to go back to present. There we go. So, student points to ponder. EDU students, once they join a class with the role of student, they're good to go. But if they have the role of teacher, remember you're going to have to ask your network administrator to change the role, which is really easy for your administrator to do, but it might take time because they're not on site or you don't know who the network administrator is. Don't ask Google to change the role for an EDU student or a club student because it won't happen. Google has no control over the EDU or club accounts. And I see I got a question coming in here, so I got to go out. The slide deck is shared as a PDF, so hang on just a sec. Um, so pub students, you can have dual roles. When you're on the pub, Google doesn't know if you're a teacher or a student. So you can be either. You don't have a role per se. So if your pub student starts their own class with other students, you don't really have a lot of control over that. Here's the thing though, if you don't tell them they can do it, they won't. So I wouldn't really worry about it. The only thing that this says that you might want to consider is that teachers can't see other teachers' courses unless they're invited. So you can share a class with a pub teacher uh, and then be co-teachers. And the co-teacher, if you create the class, you're the owner of it. You can do anything you want to that class. The co-teacher can also do anything they want, but they cannot delete the class. Okay. The student homepage, we kind of glossed over this a little bit. So basically the same thing that a teacher sees. You see the stream, you see the topics, you can view the assignments. We didn't see the calendar, so I'll do that real quick. The post aquas or post questions and comments is right here. They're not allowed to post assignments because they're students, right? They will be able to see whether or not their work is done or not done. And remember, done doesn't mean graded, it just means that it's done. And I think we did most of this. I'm going to go out real quick. We went over the grading, accessing the grading page. And please remember that this is a 3-hour workshop. So I'm going over this really quick only because we only have an hour and a half to go. Actually, we only have about 25 minutes to go here. So we've done most of this. Yes, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there is a question.
I'm sorry, go
Can
ahead.
you, Ms. Patel wants to know, can you also monitor the number of hours in Google Classroom doing assignments?
What a great question. That's an awesome question, and the answer is no. Google does not have a time or a timer on it. Any kind of short answer, no. So that would be great if it did. One of the great things about Google is that it listens to its teachers. So that would be a good request to put on the classroom forum. And if enough teachers ask for it, it usually happens. So one of the things that I did want to show you, let's go back to this. Hang on. There we go, right here. So for after you assign an assignment, you can't really do much with it. You can do a little bit, but not much. But if you see here, these are all my students, right? So I've assigned this assignment to everyone in my class. Because it hasn't started yet, because I scheduled it for next week, I can actually go, oh, I didn't want it to go to all my students. I only want it to go to Marjorie and Penny. Okay, so you can assign to specific students, and that was actually a request made by my teachers on Google Classroom Forum. So they did that, and they went an extra mile. Let me show you. This chat pod is just a pain. I'm sorry, folks. I'm trying to see things, and it's precluding me. Here we go. Here's my plus symbol, right? So I'm going to go in, and I'm going to open another assignment. But do you see how this is enabled now? So if I want this assignment to go to a different class along with this class, let's say we're doing the same exact assignment and I don't want to have to create it twice. This class is defaulted, so it has to be selected, but I could also select another class. Now all of those classes, or all of those students in those two classes, will get this new assignment, whatever it is. So new assignment. And again, you don't have to put a due date if you don't want to. You don't have to put a topic. You can put drive just in case. And you can share videos. You can share links off-site. You can share attachments. and you can share directly through your drive. You can upload files. You can upload Word files. You can upload PowerPoints. You can upload anything you want into an assignment, and it goes into your drive, into that classroom folder. Remember here, I can assign it, or I can save it as draft because I want to save it for later, right? Or if I say, yeah, I don't really want to do this, I can delete. Boom, done. Okay. Let's see, I'm trying to think of there. Oh, once you create a class, you're able to go in and change things. Okay, you don't have to stay with what you started with. So drive add-ons. If I want to edit the title of the class, or if I want to add a description, or where does the class meet? Optional. Let's see, online. So and then save it. So that will appear now as the room for my students, and you can change that anytime if the room changes, because your site's getting rebuilt. You can always change a room. I wanted to show you the calendar. So calendar in Classroom is not your Google Calendar, and yet it is. Let's click on class. I went to About the Class. This is just another way to get to calendar. And I'm going to click on Classroom Calendar. And here is a calendar. And here is an assignment due date. So this calendar will only contain assignment due dates, or question due dates, or announcement due dates if they have one. Okay, so only due dates are listed here. So, well, I don't want to have to keep coming to Classroom to see my due dates. You don't have to. Watch this. I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm going to go to my calendar. Okay. And these are all my calendars. I am going to, somewhere in here I have, oh, I know what happened. I just shot myself in the foot. What I did, what usually will happen, is that you will see a calendar that matches your class name. Okay, this is my work calendar, and I'm using my work account for this demonstration. So I actually deleted the calendars from my calendar. All right, so whatever account you are using, here we see online workshops. There's nothing due in that class, so that's why nothing is showing up here. But here is the classroom, or the class calendar for online workshops that we just created. The other class calendars I've already deleted because I got tired of looking at them. So again, I shot myself in the foot. But all of the calendars that have due dates, all of your class calendars will appear in your calendar, whatever account you are signed into. All right, all you have to do is go to your calendar and then enable them. Just hit that little checkbox next to them, and then they'll appear just like, you select your own calendar, and then those events show up. So it's just that nothing's showing up for this one because there's no due date for online workshop. We could create one, but that'd take time, and yeah, it's not necessary. You get the idea of the calendar, I think, from this. So I'm thinking I'm just about done here. If anybody has any questions, or there's something they've heard about Classroom that they want to see, I'm all over it. Let me know what that is, and I will do it. I'm gonna stop sharing real quick. I'm gonna pause and annotate. Boom. So I can come back in here. Do we have any questions? Oh wow, I only got 2 people left. They're dropping like flies. I didn't even realize it. Okay, so Ryan, it's good to see you. We did a digital badges workshop at your consortium. Glad to see you here. So just like that workshop with digital badges, we could come and do this one for your folks as well. So everybody else left in the room, it looks like, you already know me. So So Ryan, unless you have some questions, and Veronica, I think we can stop recording now. I'm going to keep the room open, but I think